going to walk us through adding some leaves, some foliage to our flowers. So first things first, I'm going to start a new layer, make sure everything else is locked. I'm also going to make sure I've saved if you didn't before with the previous, and we'll call this leaves. So I'm going to do very similar to what I did with the flowers, and I'm going to get in there and I'm going to make a few leaves, and I think my main ones will probably be this kind of funny guy, maybe this one hanging over, and then this big fat one. Actually, I might do one of these over here. Okay, so I'm going to start off with just a stroke, not stress out about the colors yet. And I'm going to start over here by just kind of clicking in and getting the basic shape of this leaf. I want that little divot because I think that is going to be important. I want that very like organic feel. Okay, and then similar to how I did the flowers, don't be weird and cut it off right here where you see a stem. Kind of make believe where you think it is. So I'm going to just kind of guess he probably goes off into this direction somewhere and then tie back into what I can see. Which that one I need to go and fix a little bit. I'm going to let this have a little bit more of an edge than what I see on there. And this guy, I just want to pull in and out so he has that nice curve. Perfect. Super happy with that guy so far. I'm going to make this leaf. I'm going to pretend he probably goes down. I'm going to make it look kind of pointed just in case. Just kind of clicking around. Finishing it off with a curve. Okay, and then I'll go make this one that kind of sticks off the side. Pull my layer in so we can see better. And I definitely want him to have an end point, so I'm not gonna not give him that opportunity. Okay, so now it's time to add in some color. Now, at this point, I could come in and you could start by adding in some gradient mesh marks and you could really develop some of this coloring. So we'll try it with this one. You could also do the way we did the flowers with some gradients in there. I'm going to go up to Object, create a gradient mesh. That's pretty perfect for me. I think we'll give ourselves 3 columns just in case I need some more variety and hit OK. So I'm going to go back to my leaves, hit Command so that I'm working in outline layers, and then I'm going to select each of these and grab the color closest to them like we did before. So I'm going to go back and forth. Remember, A is my arrow and I is my eyedropper. A, grab I, A, grab I, A, grab I. There's a few extra points in this because of how we set this up. So remember that what I had said before is less is more with gradient mesh. So the fact that I have these kind of complex shapes, they don't always work with gradient meshes right off the bat. So we're kind of lucky with this. Another thing that I did not do was start them all off with a base color. So remember, everything was white. So I should have chosen a base color off of the base of the leaf. We're going to grab this, whoop, hold Shift, And I'm going to grab a color kind of, you know, where it's at. I'm make-believing this part of the leaf, so that's not a huge deal. Okay, so now let's go see just how this turned out. I think it's pretty nice. What probably occurred here, we could just go in and check. You could deepen this color, although I don't really mind it. That's way too dark. And then that takes away some of its variety. That one's not bad. Okay, so now let's just kind of look. And he really is pretty close, like already with a little bit of veining. Now, you could continue. So what's really nice since we've set this up is, at this point, if I went in and added in more mesh points, here, 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 I could take some of these and add in some more veining. So I could take a slight color darker than what they already are, and it would eventually translate to get more of those lines. So I think that's really nice. For quick and dirty, let's keep going. Let's just see what gradient mesh does. I don't really think it's going to work out, but we can try. That gets me a few points to work with, very few points. And I'm okay with that, so I'm going to command this, and we'll go pick out these points. How many points has it created? 1, 2, 3. I'm just going back and forth from A to the arrow, I to the eyedropper. A, arrow, eyedropper. I'm trying to wind my way around. Get all that variety. Let's double check where we started. Good. We had a base screen for that guy, so that's nice. Ooh, missed my point. Almost. Got a few more over here. I'm just going to grab other colors. I'm probably going to leave most of this bottom, most of the color it really is. Okay, let's see how that looks. I would say this corner's gotten a little light because I was probably grabbing the very top, so let's go in and just adjust a few of those. I'm going to try to grab that darker color that really they are much more of. Just trying to investigate where I've gotten, oh, that's probably it. It's helping. And there's another white. So those whites are there from leaving it at the beginning white and not forcing it to be another color at first. It's not adjusting. There we go. Sometimes you gotta manually just keep moving forward with it. That's not bad. I don't even mind the little bit of veining in it. Now, if you really want to get some of these veins in, something you can do, you've got a brush tool. You can always use your bracket, so left, right bracket. I'm gonna go really small. And you can, let's do them on their own layers so that we can hide that. You could get in here and try to recreate some of these veins with the brush tool. It's gonna be really hard. I'm on a laptop. If you had a Wacom tablet, that probably would work a lot better. Okay, so at this point I could thin them out, make them my favorite profile. Already pretty thin, and then let's go look at how they sit on top. And they're pretty bright, so I'm just gonna turn them down a little bit with opacity. I'm not gonna change it from normal, I'm just gonna turn down the transparency of them. Now, they're still a little too thick for me. Because of the brush, they've not like pointed their line like that profile is, since I use brush and not the pen. So I'm gonna come over here and just sort of, let's see if we can thin some of this out. It is not gonna work on there, and that is okay. So another way we could is object, path, outline, stroke. Super easy. And then I can come in here and grab these little points and bring them in so they're really narrow. You're just manually doing it as opposed to having a nice little tool. There we go. Let's do the same thing over on this guy. Object, path, outline, stroke, and then let's dive in and make him a little thinner at this outer edge. Great. Okay, we have one more leaf. And our gradient meshes work so far. This guy has a lot of points. So what I'm very first going to do, and what I should have already done, is I'm going to put a base green on this. There, now all of his points are going to start off as this base green. I'm also going to save this base green. Leaves base green. Just so I know that's where our starting point is. Then I can come in here and let's swap back over to my outline view, and you can try to get a few points in. That's weird. Don't necessarily mind that, and then one through the middle. Great. So now I'll go in and do my same thing that I've been doing. We'll grab points and force them into certain colors. I'm not going to go with that fine little edge for this. I'm going to go with the slightly greener. But I don't mind grabbing the light on those two. I think that'll help force them to have a little bit of an edge, but not a ton. We'll get this one closer back to the regular green. We'll leave all of those at the regular green. I'm going to get him to be a darker green. Okay, let's see how he looks now. He's a little flat. It's not bad, but he's definitely a little flat. So, keep going. He needs a few more points. I think that will really help. Okay, so now let me get back in there. I know I already did that guy, but we're just going to adjust slightly. Most of the rest is hidden, but let's see how this looks. Oh yeah, that's good, given a lot more variation. It's not exact, he's definitely more dark right there, but I think that looks nice for the variation. This guy definitely needs some lines. I'm going to use the pen tool because I want to be able to take advantage of my profile. Lock. Double check the look. There's one. And escape. And we'll do one more. Swap those over to strokes, reselect them, and then you'll get all of your profiles. And then I like to go in and probably give it a little bit lower stroke and a little bit lower opacity. Let's add in one more line. You can attempt to get him to be the exact same, but he won't really change his profile, so you do still have to go in there for that part. I think that he needs to be just a little more opaque, or more transparent, I mean. Here. Okay, so again, just like we did with the flowers, we are going to copy and paste. I'm hitting save now. And those are our little fine details. So in lieu of those getting completely messed up, we'll keep them on those two layers. I'm going to copy. I'm going to lock. I'm going to create new layers. I'm going to put them behind my main ones. Eventually I'm going to have to move my vase as well. And I'm going to paste. I'm going to right off the bat do, and it's all right that the details have now gotten moved into that. So like my fine details aren't staying on their own lines. At least I have those first three, 2 to 4 objects that I can get back to for copying pasting sake. So I'm going to reflect right off the bat. And I'm going to even do a slight rotate just so they're not exact. I'm going to grab this one and move him. He's eventually going to tuck in so much you're not going to see him. I'm even going to let him sort of be strange that way. Oop. My leaves have gotten on top of that. Bring those behind. I want my main ones in the front. These are just your extras. Perfect. Okay, let's try some more. I'm going to leave them in the same layer. I'm not going to keep messing with them. I'm going to grab them and just start manipulating until I get them all sort of filled in with a nice variety of stuff. Don't be afraid again at this point to do a few tweaks because this is super organic and all of these leaves are going to look just fine. Going to be really cautious with this guy because he's very clear. I can see him so obvious. Okay, at this point I'm going to go even faster and fill some in. I'm not stressing out about where they're at per se. I'm just kind of trying to get in here and get them all filled with this natural looking brush. I'm going to pull them really close together. I'm going to even make this guy much fatter on his own. Move him to the front of that for one. Before I do that, I want to push them to the back using Command Shift right bracket. And I'm pretty close to just popping these all in now. Right bracket, I want him to go to the far back, so Command Shift back. These new ones that I create, I want them to go backwards. I don't want them to be in the front. Let's make him a little fatter. And rotate him so he's not exactly on that one leaf. Send him to the back. I'm going to be careful replicating this guy much more because it's pretty obvious. Let's rotate. Reflect. And let's do one more. Whew, don't get that guy on you. Turn him off. Let's do one more that gets kind of squished. Pull this guy a little fatter. I know these look really strange, but I'm just trying to fill in a lot of that back space. Like so. Okay, one thing I'm going to do before I move on, I'm going to move this face up in the layers so he hides all those bottoms. And then I'm going to tweak the ones that I see are completely out of place. Got all my layers locked. I'll move that guy over. We'll grab this one. Grab those details so they still stay with him. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that so far. I'm going to hit lock, and in the last lesson I'm going to show you how to add in stems and fill in any little blank spots.